What is up, guys? How are you doing today? A lot of people ask me RX-7 FD3S common problems, so I thought it would be a good idea to make a video about it. When it comes to rotary engine, a lot of people will probably think that it's not reliable. Yes, it's not really reliable. You can make it reliable, but you have to do a lot of work to, it can be reliable, but you have to do certain things to make it as reliable as the piston engines, if that makes sense. First thing I will talk about is the F100 fuse or the F110 fuse for the USDM cards. It controls a few buzzers and minor functions, and it's really annoying when it goes out. And it's really hard to find one, and it's pretty expensive. So I will probably have one standby, so when it goes out, you have a backup. I personally have this problem in my FD. It just happened recently. Whenever I try to turn the key on, it sometimes has like a blinking seatbelt sign, and it has a chime with it. It's really annoying, but it doesn't affect how the car runs. Yeah, but it gets really annoying. So I recommend you have one on standby so you can replace it whenever it goes out. Okay, fuel pulsation damper. Most people delete this and report a less stable idle, but I would not recommend this. Fuel pulsation damper that serve a purpose, but after 60,000 miles, it is known to fail from the O-ring. The fuel pulsation damper levels out the turbulence that builds in the rail due to the fuel injectors opening and closing rapidly, and ensure a steady flow of fuel is available to the injectors at all times. So if you can smell a strong fuel smell under the hood, which I actually do smell sometimes, well, it will become a huge problem later on. If you miss that sign, it's gonna create a huge problem. Your car might catch on fire eventually, so be careful. The factory FD wiring and relay is known to fail, but many companies make plug-and-play relay upgrades that implements thicker wires. While you're there, it won't hurt to upgrade your 25-year-old fuel pump to a DW300 just for peace of mind. In the 90s, the vacuum system and the solenoids that controls the sequential stock twin turbos was ahead of its time, but still very complicated, as the relays and the hoses are subject to heat and years of abuse. They'll eventually fail. When this happens, the factory boost pattern is disrupted, resulting in a huge loss of power, most commonly above 4,500 RPM crossover. Looking at diagrams, this is very difficult to refresh, and the factory solenoids can get expensive. But with few check valves, vacuum line, and DIY Mac valves, you can have a reliable system that should outlast your engine. Faulty oil pressure sensor. Many people have grounded their FDs from weekend duties because they thought they lost oil pressure, but the issue is usually the oil pressure sender unit. If it's still in the engine, it's probably very old, and it's going to start to fall apart. It will basically show you that you have no oil pressure or you have very low oil pressure, even when your oil pressure is good. So you should always have an Apexi oil pressure gauge alongside to double check, If that's not your style, I understand. Go ahead and replace your sender with OEM part, but please know, it's going to fail eventually. Rotary engine failure. this is the big one. Rotary people argue that the rotary engines are just as reliable as the piston engines if you do X, Y, and Z. But the truth is, if you have to do all that, the rotary engines are not reliable. Don't cancel me, sorry. Within the engine, the coolant seals and the apex seals are the most difficult failure points when it comes to rotary engine. There are many issues that lead to this, but the best way to understand the condition of your engine is to get a compression test before you buy it. Rotary engines requires a specific compression tester. I think rotary shops and some of the mass dealership may have access to. So do yourself a favor and get a compression test done annually. Better to know before your engine blows up, right? Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you kind of get the points. But if you have any questions or is there some points I missed, please let me know in the comments so I can look into it and I can do that on my FD. Thank you so much for watching. I see you in the next one. Oh, I forgot to mention that I will be doing most of these tests or the upgrades on my FD hopefully this year, so please subscribe and ring the bell. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Mata ne!